Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, chapter 2, text number 41. In the matter of Ajamila delivered by the Vishnu Duttas. Tataha gunebhyaha atmanam tato gunebhya atmanam tato gunebhya atmanam vyujya atma samadhina vyujyatma samadhina vyujyatma samadhina yuyuje bhagavad dhamni yuyuje bhagavad dhamni yuyuje bhagavad dhamni brahmani anubhava atmani brahmani anubhavatmani brahmani anubhavatmani tato gunebhya atmanam vijyatma samadhina yuje bhagavad dhamni brahmani anubhavatmani tato gunebhya atmanam vyujyatma samadhina yuje bhagavad dhamni brahmani anubhavatmani brahmani anubhavatmani tato gunebhya atmanam vyujyatma samadhina bhagavad dham yuje bhagavad dhamni brahmani anubhavatmani tato gunebhya atmanam vyujyatma samadhina yuje bhagavad dhamni brahmani anubhavatmani tato gunebhya atmanam vyujyatma samadhina yuje bhagavad dhamni brahmani anubhavatmani tato gunebhya atmanam vyujyatma samadhina yuje bhagavad dhamni brahmani anubhavatmani. What word meaning? Tataha, thereafter, gunebhyaha, from the modes of material nature, atmanam, the mind, vyujya, detaching, atma samadhina, by being fully engaged in devotional service, yuyuje, engage, bhagavad dhamni, in the form of the Lord, brahmani, which is parabrahman, not idol worship, anubhava atmani, which is always thought of, beginning from the lotus feet and gradually progressing upward. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: Ajamila fully engaged in devotional service. Thus, he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. Please repeat the translation. Ajamila fully engaged in devotional service. Thus he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. Purport. If one worship the deity in the temple, one's mind will naturally be absorbed in the thought of the Lord and his form. There is no distinction between the form of the Lord and the Lord himself. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the most easy system of yoga. Yogis try to concentrate their minds upon the form of the super soul, Vishnu, within the heart. But the same objective is easily achieved when one's mind is absorbed in the deity worshipped in the temple. In every temple, there is a transcendental form of the Lord, and one may easily think of this form. By seeing the Lord doing arati, by offering bhoga, and by constantly thinking of the form of the deity, one becomes a first-class yogi. This is the best process of yoga as confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Yoginam api sarvesham madgade antaratmana shraddhavam bhajate yoma same yuktatamo mataha. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in my transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. The first class yogi is he who controls his senses and detaches himself from the material activities by always thinking of the form of Lord. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purport, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jnanashalakaya Shakur Milidam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pachyatya Destarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pungalangayati girim yat kripatamande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Tato gunebhya atmanam vijya atma samadhina yuyuje Bhagavad Dhamni Brahmani Anubhavatmani. Ajamila fully engaged in devotional service. Thus he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. So we are reading in this part of Bhagavatam how Ajamila, just by hearing the conversation between Vishnuduta and Yamaduta, he became spiritually awakened. We have been reading that. And in the last verse we read, where did Ajamila go? Haridwar. So last verse we read, in Haridwar, Ajamila took shelter at a Vishnu temple, where he executed the process of Bhakti Yoga. So Prabhupada is giving the, Bhagavatam is giving the connection actually. So he went to Haridwar, he took shelter of Vishnu temple and he was engaged in devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. He controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord. So here in today's verse, if you see, it is in continuation of that. So Prabhupada takes this advantage and is beginning the purport. If one worship the deity in the temple, one's mind will be naturally be absorbed in the thought of the Lord and his form. So this deity worship is very important, That's why you see all these stalwart Acharya, Prabhupada says, like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. In our parampara, all these Goswamis, they built big, big temples and they established the deities of the Lord. Because it's even a neophyte person, even a non-devotee goes and visits these places. Just like in ISKCON Bangalore also we see, many times people don't come with full devotion and all. They come as a tourist. But they come here, they take darshan of the Lord. They take Charnamrita. They take prasadam. So these are all very transcendental tricks engaged by these acharyas, knowing the people's mind in Kali Yuga. That's why we have been reading in the Dhruva Maharaj verse also. Yesterday we heard that he perfected his in Ashtanga Yoga. Then also Narada Muni is advising him in Bhakti Yoga. So again and again, whole of Bhagavatam and in Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga, it's the culmination, it is brought out actually. So we know the famous temple, Ranganatha temple in Srirangam, or Tirupati Tirumala Devasthanam, Balaji temple is there. So thousands and thousands of people they visit there. So Prabhupada says, it's not an idol worship. In the purport also Prabhupada mentioned that. So it's a deity when it is installed by doing the proper prana pratishta according to the Agama Shastra. Lord is physically present there. We are not able to understand, appreciate the details. But it is an opportunity for anybody who is coming to temple. So just by having a glance at the deity, look at the deity, the soul is slowly advancing in spiritual journey. That's why you see in Madhvacharya also they introduced that Ashtamatha. In 8 mathas are there in Udupi and elaborate deity worships are going on. So this deity worship is very important so that to keep, because our mind is very flickering, fickle. It is always jumping from one place to another. So when we concentrate on the form of the Lord, that's why when we do this sadhana in the morning, 4-5 hours, we are absorbed in chanting and offering arti. Pujari is offering arti, we are singing. Actually, we should be absorbed in such a way, the thought should pervade throughout the day. Not that after sadhana I have nothing to do with the temple and I'm in my own activity. Okay, we are all doing devotional service. Still, actually our lives should be pervaded throughout. Prabhupada said 24 hours we should be thinking of the Lord. So it's a very, very nice opportunity. Just like Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada also visited Tirumala. And when he saw thousands of people coming, so there are some conversation. So Prabhupada mentioned, so this deity, if somebody is spiritually advanced, he can straight down, like a pure devotee, when they are seeing the deities, like Prabhupada, when you are seeing the deity, then you are installing the deity, and they can converse with the Lord directly. Because when we see, we appreciate, oh, very nice, oh, golden temple, they call all these things, correct? Here also they see, when they enter the main temple in our Radha Krishna Chandama, they don't see the deity, most of them. If you stand at the entrance, in fact, Madhu Pandit Prabhu has also mentioned, particularly on a crowded day, if you see, people will enter, they'll see up here, there and all actually. And they'll pass through the deity darshan also, they'll go without seeing. That's why we put some barricade like that, correct? Earlier it was not there. People without seeing the deities, they'll pass through, they'll enter the Gita counter. So, Prabhupada says, when we get surcharged by seeing the deities, and these deity worships are going on for thousands of years. It's not some new introduction. These acharyas they have brought. So, that's why Prabhupada is writing about, about the deity worship here. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the most easy system of yoga. Yogis try to concentrate their mind on the form of the super soul Actually, it's very difficult. For the mind is very restless and turbulent and obstinate. Arjuna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Dhyana Yoga chapter, it's very difficult to focus on Lord Vishnu who is seated in our heart. Lord Vishnu is there in front of us, we are not able to see him properly. How we can see inside of us? So it's very difficult actually, particularly in Kali Yuga, when our mind is very disturbed. So Prabhupada here he writes, but the same objective is easily achieved. See, Prabhupada uses easy system, easily achieved when one's mind is absorbed in the deity worshipped in the temple. So when a pujari is doing the arti, we would have all come across this, correct? Particularly elaborate arti, Rajbhoga arti, Mangala arti, Sandhya arti. Everybody's attention focus is there that time. There. Because generally we focus on ourselves. Here you are seeing one after another, 7 items are offered and you are offering Shamara, you are Vyajana, all these things. Oh, what is this? So the people will take this impression. Oh, that means he's supreme. See, generally when some aristocratic family members they go out, or a rich family or a king goes out of his palace, a lot of servants are there. Everybody is doing some service or the other actually. So similarly, when Lord is worshipped in a very gorgeous way like this, actually people when they see that, they also advance in devotional service. So actually we all are familiar with this. Prabhupada, many places he says. See, in the Bhagavad Gita, if you see, Krishna is speaking in the 3rd chapter about Karma Yoga, 4th chapter about Jnana Yoga, 5th chapter again he comes to Karma Yoga and action in Krishna consciousness. 6th chapter is Dhyana Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is talking of all those things. Actually, the last verse, Prabhupada, what is quoting in today's verse is from the Bhagavad Gita 6.47. The last verse. So, yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaram. Of all yogis, you who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united me in yoga and is the highest of all. See, Prabhupada says, Krishna talked about, because Krishna wanted to take Arjuna through all these things. Not for Arjuna, it's for all of us. Generally people say karma, 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 correct? So karma yoga means there is a connection. Yoga means link with the Lord, connection with the Lord. There is a connection. So, but culmination should come to bhakti yoga. Otherwise it's not complete. Actually, in that purport also, Prabhupada very nicely writes. I'll just read few portion, not a little lengthy purport. I'll just read few things. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its roots in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaja. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to a worthy one. So, Prabhupada writes, worship means you have to adore or show respect to honor a worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod, Prabhupada puts here, and he may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Because that is our position. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. Our duty is to serve. Just like finger, his only business is to serve the whole body. If finger is diseased, sometimes people who are having this sugar complication, diabetic person, sometimes their hands or leg have to be amputated. Because if it is kept, whole body will be spoiled. This will be spread throughout the body. So what the surgeons say, we have no other way, but they tried all the medication, all these things, now we have to amputate. So that is the thing. Similarly, then Prabhupada in this purport he further goes saying that the culmination of all kind of yoga practice lies in bhakti yoga. All other yoga are but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. See, very clearly Prabhupada is bringing out. Because in the last verse, first, actually Prabhupada also explains, Bhagavad Gita can be divided into 3 sections. First section predominantly is talking about karma yoga, chapter 1 to chapter 6. Chapter 7 to chapter 12 is talking about devotional service, more elaborately described. And again 13 to 18, other thing, 3 modes, and finally again 18 chapter, Krishna is concluding. So like that. So culmination should be bhakti in bhakti yoga. In this purport Prabhupada writes. In one more para, he is writing very interesting. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of bhakti yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yoga system. So we are all fortunate. We are not systematically gone through karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, all these things. Therefore, to become Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of yoga. Then Prabhupada gives the example. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. See? So Bhakti Yoga is culmination of other. In the last at this thing. Then Prabhupada mentions at the end of the purport, this stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga, as is confirmed in all Vedic literature. See, all the Vedic literature, because we know Bhagavatam was written, Vyasadeva wrote Bhagavatam after his maturity. He had written all the Veda, Upanishads, literature, Vedic, all other things he has given, Purana. Still he was not satisfied. Then he went to his spiritual master. We all know Narada Muni. Narada Muni is told, because you are not glorified sufficiently the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are feeling despondent. You are feeling vacuum. You are not feeling something satisfied or complete in yourself. Then at that point we know he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva. With the literary incarnation of Lord, he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. So here it is, Prabhupada mentioned, this stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga, as confirmed in all Vedic literature. Prabhupada then goes, Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tata guru, tassaita katitai yartha prakashante mahatmana. So, again and again this point is brought out because we are meant to render service. That is our real constitutional position. So Prabhupada says, if somebody is not serving Krishna, what he is doing is serving Maya. There is no other way. That's why when we chant through 16 round, we have been given to chant. Prabhupada translated the simple meaning of, Lord and your energy, please engage me in your service. That is the meaning. So that I'll be freed from the service of Maya. So if somebody is not becoming a devotee of Krishna, very clear he is actually in Maya. That's what Prabhupada says. So, and in devotional service, all of us are rendering various service. Somebody is doing pujari service, somebody is cooking, somebody is preaching, somebody is doing management service. So everything has a connection with Krishna. Not that, that's why we read in the Mangalarti quotes also. Like, if you are engaged in all these activities, we should not think we are cut away from devotional service. So if you do our sadhana nicely in the morning, then automatically whatever we do, actually we are depending on Krishna and we are carrying out our prescribed duty. And Prabhupada says we are dealing with men, material, money, all these things. But we will not be carried away. Why? We will be protected by Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. Because that is Krishna's mission. Krishna wants his mission to be propagated. That's why in the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, anyone who is preaching the gospel of God, who is preaching the Krishna consciousness, is very dear to me. Because when we are away from Krishna consciousness, actually we are all suffering. So this Prabhupada has brought out very nicely. So just like Prabhupada said, when a child comes to the temple, correct? Child will not knowing the detail of what is deity all about, or the philosophy about all these things, or different types of yoga. Just by seeing father or mother bowing down in front of the Lord, the children, the small child, they are very innocent. They will also pay obeisances. So that is devotional service. So simple, so easy. Prabhupada said that's why. So, and this is the highest gift in Krishna consciousness movement, which is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada says in one place that this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Namo Mahavadanyaya, a very magnanimous incarnation. He just saying, just come, worship. Manmana, Krishna also says the same thing. Manmana bhavamad bhakto, always think of me, worship me, remember me, pay obeisance unto me. Just by doing these things, we can go to spiritual world. So, Prabhupada then, like in the purport we read in the Bhagavad Gita, worship is when we worship somebody may be influential, or is a friend, or a very big businessman. We may adore him, we may worship him. There is some motive behind that. Nobody does anything free in this world. We should take it for granted. But when we are rendering service to the Lord, Supreme Lord, we don't get any remuneration. We don't get any salary. In fact, many of you young devotees, you are working in big companies. You gave up those and you want to serve the Lord because you are drawn by this movement. Prabhupada also mentioned this, correct? So, otherwise, that's why Prabhupada says to derive worship and rendering service is different. There is some motive. So, why? To derive some profit. Say, just like Prabhupada mentioned the purport about demigod also. People go to demigod, why? Kama is tattai ritagyana prapadyanti anya devata. You are full of lust, you want to enjoy. So there is a provision in the Vedic literature. You go to devata, at least there is some regulation, at least you are surrendering to somebody, you are obeying somebody. Otherwise, we are come into this world, we think we can do whatever we want. We are not at all answerable. That is not true actually. So, those who have lost their sense, Prabhupada right there, those who have lost their sense, they are bewildered by lust, they actually go to the demigod for immediate benefit. They are looking for immediate benefit. Whereas, if you see love, actually, just like Prabhupada gave the example, mother love taking care of the child, young child, it's a very troublesome job. And child is not going to pay anything. But mother, why? There is a love, there is a relationship. So, mother takes so much care right from morning till night, particularly when the baby is infant, when it's very small. And child also is surrendered to the parents. So, child need not bother after this, what I'll do. No, everything is taken care of. Just like we do one after another year. Similarly, children, normally any children who surrender to parents, they are taken care of. Because there are also qualifications because the child is surrendered, faithful to their parent. So the child is taken care of. So like that, Prabhupada mentioned that God is meant, one place Prabhupada mentioned, we are all part and parcel of Krishna, so my duty is to serve. Just like the finger example Prabhupada gives many times. God is meant for simply receiving my service. That is God's position. He has to just receive. And we have to give service. And this is our position, our constitutional position. Lord's position is to receive. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachyati. You offer me patram pushpam palam toyam. But the very important element is actually we have to offer with love and devotion. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't need anything. Everything is coming from him. Everything is emanating from him. He is Atma Rama. He is self-satisfied. He is complete in all aspects. And what he needs from us, a small devotee, what we can. But when a devotee offers with love and devotion, Krishna says, I accept. Because that is the reciprocal. So Prabhupada, in a place, he mentioned this. He has no need for food, since already he possesses everything. See, everything is coming from him. He is the possessor. He is the enjoyer. He is the maintainer. So everything is. But one who desires to please him. So we are all trying to please. We have to please somebody in this world. So when we try to please the spiritual master, when we try to please the Supreme Lord, then Lord accept that. So the very important element in devotion is when we offer even the pujaris, when we offer aarti, paraphernalia, different items, that we should come to the platform. Not that's why if you see in our sampradaya, this Goswami, they not only given like Prabhupada begins about deity worship. So we have deity worship. Parallelly we have Pancharitika, what is the Bhagavad Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi. So Pancharatrika Vidhi is deity worship going on. So Bhagavad Vidhi, reading about Bhagavan, hearing from Krishna, from messages from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this both thing has to go on simultaneously. Otherwise, Prabhupada says, we'll be worshipping the deity. What is this burdensome? I have to go offer aarti, offer bhoga, like that Prabhupada mentioned in the purport today. So it's like a burden. It will become a burden unless we are backed with this transcendental knowledge from the scriptures. That's why it's called Galagraha. Now when you are worshipping, it's called Sri Vigrahara Dana Nityanana. So spiritual master is teaching us this, how to worship the deity, how to go to deity, in what mood, how we have to be clean. Correct? Cleanliness and punctuality is very important in deity worship. Many places it is mentioned. Because the Lord is the Supreme Lord. So we have to go in time and offer, not that he has to wait. Just like in this world also, if you see some rich person, before he moves out of his bungalow, things are all set up there. Security is there, driver is there, helper is there, somebody is taking the bag, all these things, see. So when the Supreme Lord is there, it is our duty and our responsibility to offer this punctually and with love and devotion. So like that, and in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned, just like, and one more very interesting verse actually I came across. Bhagavatam says, failing to render service to the Supreme Lord, what will happen? That is also mentioned. The 11th canto it is mentioned. Yesham Purusham Shakshat Atma Prabhavam Ishwaram Na Bhajanti Avajananti Sthanat Brastaha Patanti Adaha. See, very clearly it says, Na Bhajanti, who is not rendering devotional service, Avajananti, who is deriding the Lord. So the translation is, if any of the member of the 4 Varnas and 4 ashramas fail to worship or intentionally disrespect the personality of Godhead, who is the source of their own creation, they will fall down from their position into early state of life. So we have to worship. We have been created for that. So when we don't worship, actually we'll fall down. Bhagavatam says. Prabhupada explained this, like Avajananti Mahamuda in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that famous verse, Avajananti Mahamuda Manushim Tanam Ashritam. Parambhava Ajananto Mama Bhuta Maheshwara. People do not know my nature, Parambhava. That's why fools deride me when I descend in the human form. Thinking that, oh, Krishna is also an ordinary person. Maybe some little extraordinary, that's all. No, Krishna's position is mentioned by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita. We have to understand in truth. So Prabhupada translates this Avajananti meaning in different places. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th chapter, he mentioned deride. Or Avajananti also refers to disrespectful or neglectful. Prabhupada uses all these words. So, if you do that, what will happen? Actually, we have to suffer. That is the whole thing. That's why we'll fall down, we'll be put into the hellish planet. There's verse there. So, any person who is not rendering service to Krishna is simply giving pain or trouble to Krishna. Prabhupada writes in one place. So, any person who is not rendering service to Krishna, to the Supreme Lord, is simply giving pain or trouble to the Lord. Because Lord is so merciful, He is kind, He has come here, He has come to reclaim us. So, He has given all these things, instruction in the Bhagavad Gita. And if you don't worship Him, actually it's giving pain to the Lord. Or it is just like people who are committing sinful activities, criminal activities. They are put inside the prison house. So we are all like prisoners in this world. We are turned away from God due to our sinful reaction, and we are not able to approach. So there is people who are not abiding by the law of the state, they are put inside the prison. So material world is compared to a prison house. So we may be leading a very honest life, not cheating, not troubling others. Morally, all these things are good. We have to keep up this. But that is not sufficient. Unless somebody worships the Supreme Lord, he will fall down to the hellish planet. So, bhakti, devotional service is nothing but revival of our Krishna consciousness. It is there in all of us. Right now we have forgotten. So the whole process of the chanting is actually praying to the Lord, please engage me in your service so that I will become free from the service of Maya. Prabhupada also mentioned Bhakti Yoga in the purport today. Yeah. Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness is an easy process. It's a direct process. Like that Prabhupada is mentioning in some other place. Other yogas are all very difficult. Like Ashtanga Yoga, we heard yesterday also. It's very difficult. Where we can practice all these things? Where people have time today? And you can't practice sitting in a city and all like this. So it's impossible. So here we have a process and it's a direct process. That's why Prabhupada gave the example of elevator. Suppose if you want to reach 100th floor, you can even go by step, floor by floor. It will take so much time. Krishna consciousness is something like taking an elevator. Just take the lift, you are done within a minute or so. You will reach 100th floor. Otherwise, you will go Karma Yoga. Prabhupada mentioned in one place, like if you are in the 15th floor, Karma Yoga, it's not that you achieved Karma Yoga. No, you have to still go further. You have to reach the top. Then you reach the destination. So somebody may be deviated from all these things. So the very important factor brought out here is again and again is that only by devotion or bhakti, Prabhupada in one place he mentions again, only through devotional service you can attain the highest perfection stage. Again and again Prabhupada brings out this also. Because we all want to be perfect in this world, correct? Even in spiritual life, everybody is so-called spiritual organizations are there. People are going, they are getting some solace, they are trying. They want to reach some stage, some perfection. But that is not possible. That's why Krishna says, Tesham satade yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. See again that same thing, bhajatam priti purvakam. Why? We have to render unto those who are constantly engaged in rendering devotional service. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will give the intelligence by which we can go to Krishna. Krishna, you can come to me. So, the nice instruction given, and Prabhupada's purports are very nice. So, if you read Srila Prabhupada's books, and if you try to follow this instruction, though we are not come to the stage of loving devotional service, we should all aim for that at least. We know the ultimate, where we have to reach, where is the destination we know. So just by doing all these practices, what Prabhupada has given, by following the sadhana, bhakti, and engaging in the service, actually we can come to that stage. These are some other points. I'll stop here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.